here we are. We're here live at the Omni Shoreham Hotel in Washington, D.C. This is at the culmination of the YALI Mandela Fellows Presidential Summit that was hosted here by the White House, the State Department, and and U.S. aid. And this is the second annual Mandela Fellowship Presidential Summit, where President Obama has brought in over 500 young professional leaders from across the African continent to come here to learn best practices, to intern at some prestigious companies, as well as have an opportunity to attend the universities, not only here in DC, but across the U.S. And so today we have the magnificent Grace Alache Jerry from Nigeria. And we're going to chat a little bit about what Grace has achieved out of this conference and what she expects to take back with her to Nigeria, because she is fired up, and I was just so inspired that we really have to capture this moment. With Silk Undress, we are a lifestyle of the Lady CEO, International Professional Women's Magazine. Our motto is, everybody has a story. What's your story of glory? So we're going to go inside to take a peek at Joyce and Grace and get her story of how she came here to the States for this great Mandela Fellowship Presidential Summit. Good morning, Grace. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Well,
CeCe?
yes, yes. Thank
Good
you
morning,
for
CeCe.
thank you for joining us this morning. And so, Grace, why don't you go ahead and give people your full name and exactly the state you're from in Nigeria?
All right, my name is Grace Alache Jerry, and I am from Benue State, Otukbo local government, but then I live and I work in Jos Plateau State.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. So tell me, Grace, so you're here for the Mandela Fellowship Presidential Summit. What brought you here, and why did you think this would make a difference to you?
All right, first of all, I feel very privileged to be selected as one of the 500 out of over 30,000 applications for the Mandela Washington Fellowship. And I count myself privileged because I come from a country and a continent where persons with disabilities are hardly carried along, in programs, in forums, and, such huge platforms. But to be given the opportunity to be one out of 500 fellows to be part of this fellowship, I feel honored and privileged. The Mandela Washington Fellowship is an initiative of President Barack Obama, which is the Young African Leadership Initiative. And basically, the program, aims to select 500 young African leaders who already back in their countries, in their homes, in their communities, are already impact makers, touching a lot of lives using innovative and creative ways, to solve a lot of problems and solutions in their communities. And so 500 of us were selected to come and learn best practices here in America in about 20 prestigious universities, basically to learn how we can go back home and do it even better, and to reach out to much more persons and, youths in our community, to be able to build more young leaders and bring the change and the solution that our continent, our country, and our community needs. So it's a big privilege to be here representing my country, Nigeria, representing the community of persons with disabilities, and representing all the women across the world.
That is wonderful. Thank you so very much for that. Now, let me ask you a question. So how do you feel the impact of the leadership the presidential summit was? There were so many courses. It was really great. They broke them down their region. You had great speakers that came in from all across the board, from various different arms of the government. How do you feel that the courses were, and do you feel that the training is cohesive, and what do you expect to do with it when you return back to Nigeria?
All right. Interestingly, the curriculums were designed to capture all that we do as young leaders. We had the business and entrepreneurship sector, we had the public management sector, we had the civic leadership sector, and I am under the civic leadership. And our curriculum was designed in such a way that it captured all that we do back home. And, so we could gain better understanding, gain best practice on how to go about doing it in a more effective and a more productive way. The curriculum was really packed. We didn't even have like any space to rest, so to say, but it was interesting. I was with the presidential precinct, University of Virginia College of William and Mary, and it took us through process of courses and learning opportunities. But for me, as a civic leader and a disability advocate and a musician, the courses that really stood out for me are theater as a tool for storytelling, then using art, music and art for community service, the rule of law, empathy, design thinking, effective communication. Is just amazing. I can go, the list is endless, but then I can say that I'm well equipped to go back home and do it in a much more, on a bigger and a better platform, knowing how to advocate, how to press to get things done, to get solutions done, and how to engage more and more people to add their voice and strengthen my own voice to be able to advocate on behalf of my community and the people that I represent. So I'm going back home more prepared than I came.
Well, that sounds great. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit more about you and your story.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So stay tuned, stay with us, and you're going to hear more from Grace Jerry.